Hey guys, my name is Jennifer and I am Jenofeve Designs. Today we're going to start our brand new album. This is the printable Glassine Bag mini album and it's going to be called the Midnight Garden because we are using Prima's Midnight Garden paper collection for this mini album. And today I think we're going to start on the covers. Before we get started, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any step in this mini album because I go step by step. I take you bit by bit so that you have no issues whatsoever putting this mini album together. You also don't have to use this paper collection. You can use whatever paper collection you want. I do go through and I say this page, I'm printing on this page, or blah, 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 I'm tracing on this page, all of that stuff. I do go through and tell you that. In case you are using this paper pad, but if you're not, it's totally fine. So just be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos in this video series, this Midnight Garden Glassine Bag printable mini album. So first I want to tell you that there are links down below that there's a playlist specifically to the Midnight Garden, and it starts with the introduction to my printable templates, the Glassine Bag printable templates, and then the next video I think is the products that we're using in this video, and then the next video, I'm not sure, it might be the background release because we're going to be using those new backgrounds. And then so on and so forth. So then we'll go to the cover. So that will be down below. So you can click that, or there might be a clickable link here, or you can go to the description box and there'll be a link for the playlist for the Midnight Garden Glassine Bag. There'll also be a link down there to the templates. There'll be a link to my Amazon influencer page. There'll be a specific list just for this album. So everything I use to the best that I can will be linked in that list or in the equivalent to. So I try to link everything I can down in the description box, so that's a handy place to check things out. I also wanted to tell you guys that you do not need glassine bags. The whole point of the printable version is so that you don't have to go buy the glassine bags. Everything is sized just perfect. I make my templates by hand and turn them into printable templates. So no worries there. This is my glassine bag workbook. I made that on video, so I will link that down below as well. What else was I gonna say? And another thing I wanted to tell you guys is the mini album part, the mini part. People get hung up on that word, and I use it for almost every single album that I have because in my mind, a traditional scrapbook album is 12 by 12 or larger. And ever since we started making these mini albums, anything that's smaller than that is a mini album in my mind. So just for future reference, anytime I say mini album, it's just meaning smaller than the traditional 12 by 12 scrapbook that we used to make a long time ago. And some people still make them. But I like making my own book, so that being said, let me tell you first one of the things I do when I get started on a new project. I've got my new paper pad. I go through and I pull out 2 of each sheet. That way I've got one front and one back if it's double-sided. I pull that out so that I can flip through it rather quickly to be able to see what goes with what. So I've already went through and flipped every page over. So there's the back side of this, so on and so forth, right? So that's one of the first things I do when I start a mini album. I did that already. Then we're also using shades of color, which will also be linked down below. And this is what the thumbnail looks like. So we're using this again, just like we did in our last project, except this time we're using number 15 and number 22. So I went ahead and printed that out onto my cardstock. So now I have these as a color reference. So when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do and what I want to put together, I'm going to grab these and hold them, you know, next to each other, you know, like this. Like, okay, so this, I'm going to put this up next to this, and then I'm going to have, do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so then the next thing I did for this mini album is with the Glassine Bag templates, you get a full set of the coffee stain, no matter what background you choose. You get a full set of the coffee stain paper. So what I did is I took page number 5, which is right here. This is page number 5. I took that and I printed off the coffee stained background. And the reason I do this is I'm printing it onto cardstock as well, the cardstock that I have currently. And this is how much ink my printer is putting down at the moment. It's kind of a little bit on the reddish side, but we're gonna go with it because that's what I got going on right now. So this is like on a different type of paper, and you can see the color difference. So that matters too. So this way I know exactly what my printer is gonna print. So I've got one of these. And then, like I said before, I'm going to be using the 2 new backgrounds. So this is the Collage number 2. I printed one of those off, and then I also printed the Ledger off. All the same page, because I figured if I didn't use them in the album, or if I do, I've got it already printed off. Or if I don't use it in the album, I can always use a glassine bag. So this is like a more structured glassine bag. So on this page over here, this is more like you would find a regular glassine bag. So this one's not 100% perfect. It goes together a little bit differently, but this happens to be one of my most favorite templates. Just this page. I love this little glassine bag. So it's also, obviously, it's a coffee stained glassine bag look. So this one's more like an actual glassine bag, where this one is just shaped like a glassine bag, but it's a little bit more structured. Like, you know, it goes together a little bit more even. It's not as uneven as this is at times. It doesn't have the ripped edges, but it's the same shape, okay? So I went ahead and printed these off. So again, if I was wanting to use this, like, oh, I wonder if I use this with it, how would that look? So I just can hold them up next to each other and be able to see. And again, I really do think you could make an album just with these background designs, just with these 3 background designs and the shades of color. You wouldn't even need a paper collection. So keep that in mind. So, okay, so I've got all of these ready to go. So that's one of the things I do to prepare, and it just helps me plan a little bit better. Okay, so I told you guys that we were gonna do a acetate cover for this album. So I'm just showing you this because this is kind of the look that we're going for. This was just a prototype I did a long time ago. So I'm going to show you everything that we're going to need. First thing we're going to need is, this is a chipboard. This is medium weight chipboard. I'll have this listed in my Amazon because I actually purchased it on Amazon. So I'll have it listed specifically. So just check out. I'll have a link to that specific list for the Midnight Garden mini album. And then this is craft plastic. So again, this will be linked in that exact same list. I'm just going to go ahead and start with, I think that's just, it's a little bit thicker. It's not just like your regular acetate. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the full sheet. So if we wanted to add some clear elements throughout the album, we've got the leftover bits. So I'm going to move this. And then we're going to trace our templates onto the chipboard. So we're going to need, let's see, what do we need? We need, on page 1, we need, oh, in my workbook, in case you haven't watched the workbook video, I make 2 sets of templates. This is page number 1. This is the mini album cover. And then on the page number 2 is the mat for the mini album cover, right? So what I do is I print that off, cut it out, and I stick it onto the template for the mini album cover. Okay, so that's why my templates look like that. So you should go watch that video so you can see exactly what I'm doing. We're going to need the spine, which is also on page 1. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the outside spine wrap because I think I'm still not 100% certain how I want to do this. So we're going to just go with it. And we're also going to need some white cardstock. This is 110 pound Staples cardstock. All white cardstock is different. So my printer takes through my printer sucks this paper up just fine. Not everybody's will, so just kind of a heads up. Okay, so let me move this stuff aside. Okay, so I'm going to start with the clear plastics just because it's on top. There is a plastic film over top of it because it's clear. It's crystal clear when you take the plastic film off. But I'm going to leave it on there for now, and I'm going to lay my template, my cover template on here. And I'm going to find a marker. I'm going to use a Sharpie pen because it's like a fine point. I bet you a pencil would work just fine. Right, just like that. And, oh, I need to still cut that out too. But I wasn't sure if a pencil would actually write on that plastic film, but can you see where I just traced that out? Okay, so I'm going to trace, I'm also going to trace it onto this piece of chipboard here. I'm just going to go ahead and use my Sharpie since I got it in my hand. I feel like I am reaching out again. I need to scooch closer. I don't want to get you out of frame. Oh, I still need that. I don't know what's going on with me. All right. So then I'm going to, this is the spine piece. I'm going to lay this right up next to it. And I'm going to cut that. Oh, you know what else? We need one more thing. Okay, we're also going to need, you don't have to do this part. This part is optional, but we're going to need something to help reinforce the spine. Again, it's optional. You do not have to do this, but you can either use fabric, like this is just a muslin fabric, or you can use Tyvek, which is what I'm going to use. So I'll have this linked. Ooh, it's got stuff all over it. I'll have this linked in my Amazon, but this is Tyvek, and it's you can't tear it. There's all different forms of ways you can get Tyvek. You know, you can get tape, you can get it through construction, you can get it like at construction stores. You know, like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something. But just please do not take the free ones from the post office. They're there for convenience. I feel like it's so bad to take something and use it you know, when it's free, and use it for a different reason other than what it's intended for, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And now let me move these. I'm not going to put them up yet because I think we might still need them. And I'm going to get my craft mat. This is a SCRAPBOOK craft mat and a Scotch craft knife. And I'm going to get a ruler, Tim Holtz ruler, and I'm going to cut this down. And I'm going to go, I'm not going to push really hard. I'm just going to make a nice gentle pass. And I'm going to do that until the two pieces come apart. I don't think I have a super sharp blade in there, so I was just trying to be gentle. All right, now I'm going to cut this piece away, and you know, really, we could use these chipboard pieces as embellishments or other things. You just never know. So I'm going to go ahead and put them with my stash of stuff to use in this album, just in case. You just never know. All right, I'm going to separate the spine piece from the back cover. Ooh, I'm a little shaky today. Okay. Alrighty. Right, so there's the spine and there's the back cover. Let me move these. You just never know what you might need. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this acetate. My paper trimmer will cut this acetate, but since I've got this out, I'm just going to go ahead and use it. You could, if you wanted to, you could use some, this isn't acetate, this is plastic, I'm sorry, craft plastic. If you wanted to, you could recycle some packaging. Like, I did get a new scoreboard, and I've got a lot of packaging that came with that. I'll show y'all that when we get to needing a scoreboard. But, you know, that stuff is pretty thick. That plastic is pretty thick. It might be scratched up, but it's pretty thick, so you can recycle as well. Okay, right, so there's that piece. I'm gonna stick this with stuff I can use. Definitely don't want to waste that. And then I'm gonna cut this piece away. Oops. Okay. So there's our front cover, back cover, and our spine. Okay, so then the next thing we need to do is I'm trying to decide, I think what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm trying to decide how I want to do this really quick. So I'm going to grab my piece of white cardstock, and this is the outside spine wrap. So I think I'm just going to, I'm going to lay this on here. Actually, I better give myself just a little more room on this side. Actually, let's give myself a lot. So I'm going to actually line this up on my grid. I think I'm going to give myself an extra inch from that edge, just in case I want to do some tearing or something like that. I'm going to grab my pencil this time. Again, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to use my pencil. Alright, so I'm going to mark this line here. I'm going to flip this down, mark this line here. I'm going to go ahead and trace. Actually, let's just go ahead and trace all the way around. Like that. And then I'm going to flip this up. And did I already do this one? No. Right, did I get that one? Okay, so I got that. I'm going to cut this out. Now, don't just cut that out. Let me move that. Let me get my paper trimmer. This is a Fiskars, or Fiskals, however you want to say it. Paper trimmer. It's a beast. You have to forgive my tripod kind of prevents me from showing the whole thing here, but I'm just going to cut this whole piece down like this. And I think I'm still debating on what I want to do over here. I'm not really sure. Okay. All right, I'm not going to put that up yet. So now I'm going to take that tie back piece and I'm going to lay this on here, except I'm going to flip that one. No, I'm not either. I'm going to lay this on here and I'm going to find a straight edge. I'm going to trace around this. And I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to get my paper trimmer back out. Slide that in there. Turn that off. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just wanted to make sure that it was covered. Like that. So I'm going to cover this with tape, this piece of Tyvek. I think I've got this going the way I want it to, you guys. I hope this works out, because if not, I'm not going to be happy. I'll have to start over, and I'm not going to be happy. Okay, hang on. Alright, I don't know if you guys remember a long time ago, but scrapbook.com had sent me a whole bunch of tape. So I've got this big 6-inch roll of tape, and I have been using it a lot while I'm working on my prototype for the workstation. I've been using it a lot. I'm gonna use it here. It's just a convenience thing. If you don't have it, you can just use your other tape, and as long as you cover the whole bit of it. So I'm gonna go this way, and I'm gonna show you what I do with the leftover bit of tape over there, because you can't be wasteful either. All right, so I'm just gonna take my craft knife and I'm just gonna cut it apart. I cut it away from the roll. And then I'm going to carefully cut this out. So there's that piece. Let me go ahead and trim this part. See, my thingy is not very sharp. I need to I need to snap that end off, because that's one thing I like about this craft knife is you can snap the tip off, that tippy tip there. You can snap it off and start anew. All right, let me cut this piece off. Okay. All right, well, let me show you what I do with my extra stuff anyway. That way we can put this up. Okay, you guys have seen this before where I keep some main things. It's just some, you know, Velcro little pouches where I keep stuff that I use over and over and over again, or that I use a lot of that I don't want to waste. Well, I've been, like I said, I've been working on, let me find a sheet that's empty. I've been working on my new template, and I'm gonna have to, I can't show you what I'm doing. So anyway, I've got a lot of these scraps. So these are from an 8.5 by 11 full sheet. So I'm just gonna stick that on there and stick this on here. And then that way I have it for whatever else I need. So this is gonna, let me burnish this down. This is a Teflon bone folder. So this is gonna go here. Okay, so like I told you, I did get a new scoreboard. This is a We Are Memory Keepers scoreboard, and it has all the different little marks, all the different, it's printed on here versus it just being a molded piece of plastic. So this one is the EK Tools, which is just fine. You do not have to get a new scoreboard, but I was just showing you that I did. And the craft plastic that I was talking about, like this, you could use this for the cover as well, something like that. So don't ever throw those giant pieces of packaging away. Okay, so I haven't even used this yet. So one of the things I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is, you see there's no markings. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to mark it with my Sharpie at 3. And I'm going to go up that ledge there, 3. And I'm going to do 6. And 9. I may add additional marks at another time, but these get me started. It just helps you to not get lost with what you're doing. You know, you don't get in a different channel accidentally because you kind of shifted. Do you know what I mean? All right, I'm gonna let that dry for just a minute before I do anything else. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stylus, EK Tools stylus, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to score this piece, or this piece, this line, the 2 middle lines, I'm just going to score those. Oops, did I cut my paper crooked? See, look, I'm not even paying attention. Boy, I'm glad I put them lines on there. Goodness. Alright, so I went through and scored just those 2 middle lines, and I got off just a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm going to put that up because I don't need it right now. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this down now here. And, oh, you know what? I wonder if I should put tape on this side as well. Should I? Yep, I'm going to. I'm going to put tape on this side as well. I'm going to get my roll back out. And see, if I would have planned this out better, but I didn't. Alrighty. I'm just going to, again, stick this on the straight edge here. Could also, too, if you wanted to, take this piece and stick it back on the roll. If you had to, you could totally do that. So you can make this tape fit just about any size, right? So I'm just going to stick that on there. And I'm going to trim my little edges. All right, and I'm going to burnish that down. Okay. Now I'm going to stick this down. So, just going to get a pointy tool, something pointy. And you can even save that and put scraps on that release it, that backing, whatever you want to call it. So, alright, let's burnish that. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this backing off. And now that I put that on, I should have used a Sharpie so I could see, but that's okay. Alright, I'm going to get my spine piece out and the glare of the lights, and I'm going to go ahead and tilt it up on its side, and I'm going to attach it down right in the middle there, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take, and what am I going to do now? I'm going to take this piece here, I'm going to take the cover, and I'm going to put just tape around the edges. Where's my tape? I'm going to put tape around the edges. This is a scrapbook.com, 1/4 inch tape, and then I'm going to put glue on the inside. Okay, but before we go on, I've got that. I've got the tape around the edges. We're going to peel the backing of the craft plastic off. And are we going to do it on both sides? We don't have to do it on both sides right this minute, just as long as we make sure we put it on the right side. You know what, we better go ahead, just because if I forget, you're going to be able to know that it's that there's plastic on there. Okay. Alright, so now I'm just going to pick, whoops, I'm just going to pick one edge of this piece, and put tape along the edge there. Alright, and I'm going to burnish that down. Burnish this down really quick. Alright, so let's start with this piece here. Let's go ahead and take the backing off of this tape, and then we're going to put some glue. Alright, I'm going to use my Faber-Attack by Beacon. And I'm going to get it down there to the bottom, and I'm going to cover this back side. You could use a tape runner if you wanted to. You could use white glue if you wanted to, just whatever. I don't know why, but when I'm using chipboard, I just feel better when I have Faber-Attack versus just any glue, if that makes any sense. I mean, you could also use the double-sided adhesive as well. Alright, so I'm going to come about, I need to be careful here. I'm shaking, so that's not helping. So I'm going to come about 1/8 of an inch-ish from that spine piece. And I'm going to lay that down. Burnish that really good. Okay, I'm going to flip this around. So far there's no direction, except we know this is the front. And I'm going to remove the backing off of that piece, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come about 1/8 of an inch away from the spine piece. Mine's a bit of a generous 1/8 of an inch, I have to say. So I'm going to burnish that down. It's very possible we might end up tearing that off or cutting that whole extra piece off. I'm just not sure yet. So then the next thing we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like score along the edges here. Like this. I'm going to go all the way around. And around again. Just helps the fold. And then before I do, I'm wondering if I want to score there. No, I don't want to score in between. I am going to grab a tool. Maybe. Oh, here it is. This is the Perfect Trim ruler, and this was sent to me, so I will link her below. Alright, so I'm going to line this up just like this, because I'm going to wrap this. I'm going to wrap it all the way around. So I'm going to line it up and trim off the corner. And do the same thing over here. You don't have to have this tool, but it sure does make a nice neat corner. Nice neat wrapped corner. You can just cut it straight across if you want to. No big deal. Okay, and then I need to add some, I'm not going to add any adhesive to this piece. I'm just not sure. So I'm not going to add any adhesive to this piece. So I'm going to add adhesive to the rest. What did I do with it? Ever since I changed my backdrop, I'm losing things. It's getting on my nerves. All right. So I'm going to go along the edge. Oh, look. And I need to get another roll. And lucky for me, I have one already open. All right. So again, I'm going to go around the edge. Of the white paper. And I'm also going to go, I'm going to go over top of this corner here and to the other corner. I just feel like it gives it a cleaner edge. Everything, every bit gets stuck down, you know. So there's a ton of different ways to make covers, make wrapped covers even. So don't feel like you have to make it this way. This is just how I'm making it. Now I'm going to go along the edge of this chipboard. Just like that. I'm going to take the backing off and start here. And a lot of people do this differently as well. They'll do the side at the end first and then do the top and bottom. I don't know why, but I've always done it this way. So I'm going to start by tilting it up on its side. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to score right along everything when it's up on its side. Right? So then I'm just going to wrap it around. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish that edge. Right? And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Tip it up, and I'm going to score again. And wrap it around. Okay, and then last but not least, we're going to do this here, this bottom edge. I'm going to tuck. See, I went up a size, if that makes sense, on that perfect trim ruler, thinking that my chipboard was bigger than it is. It's not, but that's okay. Right, so we're just going to go ahead, put that over. Right. So I think one of the first things I'm going to do is come on this side, and I'm going to burnish that in really good. Matter of fact, I might even like train it to go this way, just real quick. And it looks like I'm being rough, but I'm really not. I'm actually being fairly gentle. Alright, so now I do need to kind of make a decision though about this edge. I seriously do. Yeah, I do need to make a decision. I think I'm going to tear it. I'm just going to guess. So since I didn't glue this end down, I'm just going to tear it like this, right? On the inside, flip it over. It would have been easier, obviously, if I would have made this decision prior to, but such is life, right? So then we've got, yeah, see, that'll be cool. Oh, can y'all see the reflection? There's my camera. Hi. All right, so now I can gauge better on what my mat needs to be. So I'm gonna grab another sheet of cardstock, and I'm gonna grab, let's see. Yep. I'm just gonna grab the mat for the cover. And, no, So I'm going to do lengthwise here, and I'm just going to trace it out. And then, or I'm gonna go ahead and trace it out. I'm just going to trace it out like that. Get a paper trimmer. Alright, I'm going to cut one long strip, and then I'll have to lay it down and measure it against what I've already done. So see, this will go here, right? And here, I'm going to flip it this way. I'm going to throw caution to the wind here. Alright, I wanted to meet that line right there, so I'm just going to lay it down where I'm going to glue it down, and then I'll put my ruler back up here, and we're just going to tear it. Yep, what do you think? Just like that. Alright, so once again, I am going to, let me lay it down again, and I'm going to mark, so that's going right up to that edge. I don't want, I don't want to put tape all the way up to the end, so I'm just going to make a little mark. Just a little, just so I remember not to go all the way up. Alright, where's my tape again? Alright, I'm going to go all the way around the edges. We'll start at that little mark that I made just then. Start at this mark. Go all the way around the edges. Right, so got that one, and then I'm going to put a piece right down here. Okay, so then on the cover, I'm going to go through and add tape. Like, I'm going to add a piece here. I'm not going to go end to end. We're just, let me see. Right, we're gonna stop about a half inch from each side, but then I'm gonna go through on the spine piece here. And we're making sure, first thing we're gonna make sure is that we get all these edges so that nothing buckles when we start to bend it. Right? And then I'm gonna go two more on here, and then I'm gonna go one here. I think I'm gonna go two more. I just want to make sure there's good coverage. I hate it when albums buckle right there at the spine. Drives me bonkers. All right, I should have used my leftover pieces. I could have cut it down. Okay, so now I'm going to burnish. And I'm going to burnish this. Right, and then I'm going to take the backing off of here. I feel like I'm going to need to put tape here, you guys. I'm going to leave it for now, but I feel like eventually I'm going to have to put tape on those edges. But we'll see. And I'm going to remove these. I'm just going to go through and take all the backings off. Get my fiber tack back out, my Beacon fiber tack. And I'm going to cover just the brown bits on the cover here with Fabri-Tac. So just the exposed chipboard. You could also use, if you wanted to, you could use a cereal box for your chipboard and just you know, double them up. So that always is good if you don't have any on hand, like medium weight. Okay, I'm going to try to be real careful here. All right, I'm not just going to lay it down. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to gently make sure that it gets in the nooks and crannies. So I'm just going to go just a little bit at a time. And hopefully I got that on there straight, because wouldn't that be Stinky Pete if I didn't? Okay. Give that a good burnish. Oh, got something on my thingy there. Okay. And then we should be perfectly lined up. Since so far everything's just white, it does not matter about anything yet. Alright, so I flipped it back over to the front side, and I'm just going to burnish that down really good. Flip it over, burnish this. Okay, so then I'm going to gently See, if you make that gap too small, you won't get a nice bend. It'll just break. So you kind of want to go like 2 widths of your chipboard. Whatever it is that you're using is usually the best way to do it. So now I'm going to ink my edges. So we're using, this is Archival ink in a coffee by Ranger. And, since I've changed my thing, I got to be careful what I sit. I don't want to get it all dirty. And then this is a Tim Holtz, or a Ranger, no, this one's actually a Tim Holtz blending tool. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to ink all of my edges. Well, except for the acetate. So what am I going to do to protect the acetate? I think I'm just going to take the piece that we ripped off there, kind of get it up under there so that I can get that edge, right? Yeah, there's always a workaround, isn't there? Okay, so I'm going to ink the edges front and back all the way around, and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, I have got it inked up. I've got it inked up all the way around. I got the inside inked up. I even tried to ink up this just a little bit. I didn't ink the liner up because I didn't want it to like stand out. I wanted it to look like a solid piece. Do you know what I mean? So I got it all inked up. So I think we'll stop this video here because I wasn't expecting it to take so long. But as usual, when I don't plan things out, it takes a lot longer. So in the next video, we will come back and embellish the covers, I think, maybe. Like I really like putting pockets on the backs of my envelopes, on the backs of my albums. I've done it almost on every single one lately. So I'm sure that we'll probably do something like that on the back and then do a little bit of embellishing in the front. So, alright you guys, that is all I have for you guys. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and do let me know what you think in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to visit my Etsy shop, and there should be other videos here on the screen that you might enjoy watching. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.